Well, hey everybody, this is Chris DiFurio with Keys to the Shop. Welcome to another edition of Shift Break. Today's episode is brought to you by La Marzocco, who's been making espresso machines by hand since 1927 in Florence, Italy. And they have just built this reputation over almost 100 years as the quintessential espresso machine in the coffee shop. I mean, so many of us have cut our teeth on La Marzocco Linea, the classic Linea, which is 30 years old this year, by the way. Happy birthday to the Linea. But, through the years, beyond that, they've innovated lots of different styles of espresso machines and lots of technologies that we use and just, take for granted today because they have listened to the needs of their customers, the coffee shop retailers, just like yourself. The KB90 espresso machine is a perfect example of this, where it has the straight-in locking portafilters for ergonomics, built-in scales for accuracy of extraction. The auto flush feature in the group heads increases cleanliness and workflow. And so a great example right there, but it's just one of many that La Marzocco has in terms of machines that fit your application, your context. So I would encourage you, if you're looking for a great espresso machine to start out with, or if you want to upgrade, you look into La Marzocco. Find them over at lamarzocco.usa.com, and they're available to help you make the right decision for your cafe. Just email them, info@lamarzocco.usa.com. Today's episode is also brought to you by Espressly. They are creating branded mobile apps, custom branded mobile apps for your business, so that your customers can have the convenience of mobile ordering, but also be really connected to your cafe, to your menu, your brand, increases loyalty, and it just makes it that much cooler to be a customer of your coffee shop, that you've gone out of your way in terms of the thought process going behind the apps to say, you know what, we want this to be an extension of who we are and not just an additional service. That's what Espressly really does well. That brings that experience with the convenience. So it's a no-risk model with Espressly. You get a drive-through payment scanner, receipt and label printing capabilities, data stored in the app. It also integrates with some of the world's best payment processing systems, including Square. So there's a lot to love here, a lot of great opportunity. Sign up today over at espressly.co. That's espressly.co. Okay, everyone. Well, today I wanted to talk to you about how messy can be beautiful. I have been talking with lots of clients, in fact, over the past few months, and one of my clients is in the process of creating a position of management in their cafe. And in this process, the conversation was centered on the idea that they really wanted to have this person be equipped when they came in as the manager with a suite of documents and resources and procedures and things like that they could just take and run with, which I totally appreciate. And I think to a degree is actually really good. However, in talking a little bit more, it becomes evident that this is a conversation that is centered around the idea that we really should have these things. And maybe it's a little bit of perfectionism, and I totally get that. You want to show people that you've got it all together, and that's great. However, one thing that we talked about was the idea that this person is going to be part of the process of determining what management looks like at the store. It's a co-creative opportunity. And it's not necessary to have, quote unquote, it all together, because what's going to become the way that management happens is going to be based on the trial and error with this individual. Now, you do want to have some basics, some standards, some metrics to judge success, to bring some security to the individual so that they know what a good job looks like. You can do that through the categories of operations, of finance, and people, and determine what's really helpful for you to look at and say, well, how do I know that people are happy? How do I know that the finances are good? And how do I know that the operations are running smoothly? Whatever those basics are for you, you can outline those and create them as an accountability structure and metrics for a manager to kind of sink their teeth into. However, you don't have to have it perfect. Yeah, again, because the idea is messy can be beautiful, and here's why. As a professional, as a coffee professional, one of the great joys that I get and have got throughout my years of coffee is being a part of the solution finding process. I feel like a valuable member of the team when I can go in and kind of put my stamp on the business in a sense. Like I can see the impact that I have made. When you've got it all together, let's say that you create an airtight formula where there's no deviation necessary. This is perfect. All you need to do is like plug it in. It's turnkey. Here you go. Yeah, that's good security for you, okay? But it's also kind of robbing you of the joy of that discovery process, of being able to see your impact on the business. And in terms of small business, smaller coffee shops, I think there are more people looking for that opportunity, so long as it's not a cop-out to say, like, we're always just going to be messy because screw it, And that's not the case with the people that I work with. But I know that there's tons of people out there who they're not doing the work to kind of create clarity as they go forward. They're kind of just passing the buck. That's not what I'm talking about doing here. Because messy can be beautiful, yes. And especially in this process where you've got somebody who might have an opportunity to help establish some foundational clarity for a role that previously hasn't existed to the point where it needed to exist. In the future, people who take on that management role might have more tight structures and might have a little bit more clarity than this person does. So this is like a limited time offer. But I think it's a valid one to think through, especially for you out there who are considering putting a manager in place for the first time, that you don't need to have it all together. It doesn't need to be perfect, but you do have to pick the right person. And that person does need to have not only the values of your company, especially around hospitality and people, but they also have to have some flexibility and find some energizing value in coming in and co-creating and helping discover the realities of what this cafe needs through the process of becoming the manager and helping establish the position of management in the company. So don't let perfectionism stop you from making the right decisions or taking the next steps, at least, for making the right decisions about your business. Messy can be beautiful. Start with the basics and allow things to form as you move forward with a spirit of mutuality, trust, and co-creation. I hope that makes sense, and I hope that it's helpful for you. Thank you so much for taking time to listen, and I will see you here next week on another edition of Shift Break. From keys to the shop.